Good morning and good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Just setting up real quick. 1 second, guys. All right, so welcome back to the channel, guys. This is David Meni and the Big Money Meni Book Club. Moving on with our next chapter, chapter 16. Just a couple more to go, and I'm excited about it. And hope you guys are doing well. Hope the Most High is blessing you in every which way. And whatever you're going through, just know that God is greater than your problems, and you're going to be fine. He's going to help you. He's bigger than anything you got going on. A little bit of technical difficulties going on today, but hopefully we can get past this. I hope the sound is working great. Let me just do a quick check on that. I need to hire somebody to take care of all this, you know. But yes, I'm excited, you guys. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the book, and yeah, I'm just inspired, you know, listening to a few podcasters that I follow and just the passion that they have to share information. And I do have a lot of projects in the works, right? And so look out for some new things coming on. Hopefully a new brand coming out, so clothing and gifts and things like that. Things going on in our ministry. We're excited about a revival coming on. If you follow the channel, you'll know that we've been promoting a little bit about our revival. First in a long time, in a few years that we've had a revival, but we are glad to be putting on that to give glory to God and the Lord Almighty. And again, I know there's a lot of craziness going on, and I want to cover a lot of that stuff, but that's going to be coming soon. So look out for that. In the meantime, we are going to finish up this book. This is chapter 16. All right, so it's been a long while. And, now that I'm moving at a faster pace, I'm like, man, we should have finished this book a long time ago. However, I've allowed things to get in the way, and I've allowed myself to be distracted, and I apologize about that. But we're going to go ahead and get through this book, so that we can, move on to something else, right? And so chapter 16 says here, chapter 16, building an outside team. All right, so we learned about chapter 14 was clarity of path. Chapter 13 was clarity of vision. All right, and then yesterday we learned about having crabs. All right, and that was about having people, the proverbial example of having the crabs in a bucket. You never have to put a lid on the bucket, because when one tries to climb out and break free and get that freedom, the other one is always there to bring it down. And so just eliminating the crabs in your life. And today we're going to be talking about building an outside team, which is something a little different to me, and I can appreciate it, because there's all kinds of leaders out there who will teach you different ways of team building. And, you have to be a fool to not realize that to do something great, having a team behind you would definitely put things in put the odds in your favor. It'll definitely help you get along, to eliminate a lot of stress, to maximize your efforts, because you got more boots on the ground. All right. But if I could be real with you, as a person who's a business owner for 8 years now, I can tell you that anytime you go and you listen to one of these motivational speakers who gives you all the steps of how to build a team and how to do this and how to do that, right? There's going to be people that are there to help you in that aspect. However, what people need to realize is that just like you, they are human beings, and they got to go home and they deal with the stresses of life, right? They got to brush their teeth. They got to clean themselves. They got to do everything just like you. And just like you, they get lonely. Because here's the thing, A lot of people look at entrepreneurs and are like, man, he's always on that grind. He's on that grind all the time. I want to be just like him. I want to be, you know what I mean? And they cut off other people and they restrict themselves from certain things. And you got to do that to a certain point. However, there's times where you have to have an outlet, and I would recommend that you don't go all the, nothing can stand, foot on the pedal, gas all the time. It just doesn't work out. Everybody burns out. We're all human. But you have to have a team outside of your team. All right, which is what we're going to talk about today. And that's why I can appreciate what he's talking about here, because nobody talks about this. Not until you get to like a real mentor and you have somebody mentoring you personally and looking at your business, and then they'll, give you that advice. But that's not something that people write in a book. Right. And so that's why today I feel like it's a really good bit of information that we're going to be receiving here from Bedros Keuilian. I'm going to read the whole chapter here. It's just a few pages, but definitely a lot of great notes that I took. Right. So I'm excited to go over with you guys. All right. Feel free to download the book and get it online, and or order the book paperback copy. I believe these are free now to download. So here we go, guys. Chapter 16, building an outside team. He says there is a problem entrepreneurs face that not a lot of people talk about, and that is loneliness. And he says, but Bedros, aren't like entrepreneurs always hustling and going out to conferences and meeting people and networking? How could they be lonely? And he says, that's all true, but here's how it happens anyway. When you are an entrepreneur, you can't connect in the same way with a lot of people you spend your time with. Take your employees, for example. You write their checks. You control the checks that controls in some way their livelihood. So you can't just be like any other employee. You're always at a bit of a distance, which is true, right? He says, if ever you become management at a job, which, I have before. I was a supervisor at the airport, the youngest in the history of the company, at 19 years old. And I had a lot of friends at the job. And one of the things I realized is that you cannot be friends with people. Oh, you can. It's just things are a little different now. All right. You have to understand your roles. But he says here that so even when you might spend dozens of hours a week with your employees, you'll never be one of them. It's important that you're not one of them. He says, but you can still crave that human connection that they have with one another, but just not the same. All right. He says family. And let me pause on that for a second. I understand what he's talking about here. When you set yourself apart as an entrepreneur, you have to go through some trials. You got to go through some stuff. It's hard to be an entrepreneur and always be on that grind and try to focus and hone in your skills and really working on yourself, which, looking at podcasts and reading books like we are here today in this podcast. It gets lonely because you start to, what we read yesterday, outgrow your friends. You start to, your mentality, it changes. And you start to realize, like, man, I can't kick it with these guys no more. I can't hang out with them like we used to. It's a little different, right? I can't just go and, shoot the whatever, waste time, right, with them, because I'm on a different level now. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. And so he says, so even though you might spend dozens of hours a week with your employees, you'll never be one of them. And it's important not to be, but you can still crave that connection with people. And and it hurts. It does. But he says, family helps. He says, my family is my bedrock in my life. My wife, Di, has been there through the peaks and valleys, and my kids are an instant reminder of everything that is important that isn't building a business and growing my empire. And he says, as my friend and author Ryan Holiday puts in his piece at the Observer, for all the productivity and success advice I've read, shaped, and marketed for dozens of authors in the last decade, I've never really seen someone come out and say, this is huge now. He says, find you a spouse. Find yourself a spouse who who compliments and supports you and makes you better. I couldn't have put it better myself. Let me read this again. Okay, this is huge. So he has a friend, Ryan Holiday, who's an author, and he wrote in The Observer, for all the productivity and success advice that I've read, shaped, and marketed for dozens of authors in the last decade, I've never really seen anyone come out and say, find yourself a spouse. Find yourself a spouse who who compliments and supports you and makes you better. And he says, I couldn't have put that better myself. It is so important to have your partner. If you're single out there and you're in business, hey, God bless you, man. You're going to be well. Find yourself a mentor. You're all good, right? Find yourself a partner. Right? Stop messing around, right? But if you have a partner, it is so awesome to be on the same page with them. My wife and I, what can I say, man? Business has really, really changed things up for us. I don't think we would have stayed together if it wasn't for our business, for the coaching, for the experience, all right, the ups and the downs that we've been through, the struggle that we've been through, all right, with family, with money, with having a place to live, with the loss of family, right? It's our journey, man. I think I want to write about it. I think I'm going to write about it, and I think it's quite an experience. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. At the same time, I look back and I'm like, man, I couldn't have come this far without my wife. She is definitely my stronghold. I mean, yes, my God is my foundation, right? But my wife, she's like the strong walls that are built on that foundation, and whenever I need to be sheltered, when I'm vulnerable, she's there for me, right? She's like my number one fan. I can't tell you how important it is, right, to have a partner in business that is there for you, right? And so he said, who compliments and supports you and makes you better. That's huge. It really is, right? He says, but even within your family, he says, you will find a bit of distance. Most people don't know how much entrepreneurs internalize their struggles and suffer in silence. And that right there, man, I really do want to highlight that, because it's so much different being an entrepreneur than having a job. It all falls on you. You know what I mean? You make the decisions, and it's a great thing. I think it's a sort of a strengthening that you get from being an entrepreneur that people that have a job don't understand, and that needs to be recognized, right? They internalize their struggles and they suffer in silence because there's no one that you can go to. You can't go to the HR. You are the HR. You know what I'm saying? That you can't just go and complain and take some time off for whatever mental health. It's all on you. So sometimes you keep things to yourself in order to protect your family. And he says you want to keep a stiff upper lip. You want to be strong. And he says he did this with his wife. Through the worst parts of the Fit Body Bootcamp story, there were things about their finances that he just couldn't bring himself to tell her, because he didn't want her to see him as less of a provider and less of a man. One more sound check, guys. All right, so apologize about the sound. It's all jacked up today. It's all good. All right, so he says that they suffer in silence. Sometimes you keep things to yourself in order to protect your family. You want to keep a stiff upper lip. He said he did this with his wife, and because he didn't want her to see him as less of a man or a provider. So you're with people, but you're on your own. You're surrounded by human beings, but you can't open up with all of them in the same way that they can be with each other as entrepreneurs. You are an island. This is why it is vital for you to build an outside team. It says your outside team consists of people who don't necessarily work directly for you, but they are in your network. They are in your circle of influence. Right? So these are people who support you. They believe in your vision and push you to become the best version of yourself. Your outside team might consist of a mentor or a business coaching group or friends who want to see you thrive, as well as like-minded peers who are as driven as an entrepreneur as you, or as entrepreneurial as you, right? I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that this outside team is to helping you navigate your decisions and actions as a leader. You are frustrated. Your trusted outside team is there to give you the outside eyes in the form of trusted feedback or just to hear you out whenever you are going through a rough patch. And I want to walk you through a few principles about it that you might not know or recognize right away. All right, so here are some principles about having that outside team. Number one, your outside team is heavily curated. My guess is that you're like most people. A lot of your friendships are the ones you fell into, right? So maybe you went to school with them, right? And that's when you guys became friends, or you were roommates, or you grew up together. In any case, you didn't necessarily seek out these people or seek out many of your friendships. They just happened, right? Because of the emotions that you go through. And that's okay. Part of the virtue of friends is that relationships are organic. And whatever combination of time and chance brought you together, it worked and it clicked. But he says the outside team is different. It's not accidental. You need to be very deliberate about those people, who those people are. It's worth thinking about the outside team as a board of directors. All right. And he says, breaking down the board of directors, you wouldn't put anyone on your board who, number one, you didn't enjoy as a person or you couldn't stand to learn from. And number three, you wouldn't put a person on the board who you think could help somewhere down the line if you didn't think you can help them. Your outside team will consist of a handful of people who are there deliberately, right? That's huge. Number two, you won't just go out for drinks or catch up. When I get together with my different outside teams, I have the different outside teams that I have, it's often over a meal, but we're not just catching up and shooting the stuff. Typically, there's a structure and an order to our dialogues or meeting to solve one person's particular set of problems, right? So when they get together, it's with purpose. They know exactly what they're going to be talking about. These conversations aren't idle chit chat. They have depth and meaning and analysis. We're there to talk about business and life and the goals that we have and how we are going to get there. Now, we definitely have fun, but, and some of the best times I've ever had have been with my outside team. But these aren't your usual groups of drinking buddies. Each of you is going to make a commitment to each other to be a part of helping that person develop and grow and prosper. You'll probably choose quieter restaurants. You might even do breakfast instead of drinks or dinners, just so everyone is sharp. You might go for hikes or do a physical activity. It won't be swilling, a bunch of beer at a local bar, and that's not the point, right? So number three, you'll feel that you found your long lost family. Each time I hang out with my outside teams, I feel different about myself, my vision, and my future. After hanging out with entrepreneurs and mentors, I feel recharged and having this feeling that I can plow through any challenges that gets in my way. I walk away from our conversations and meals overflowing with ideas and energy and firepower. To be clear, it's not like my entrepreneur friends are any better humans than my friends or in family that I grew up with. They just work different. They have different habits and approach life with gusto. That should have been word of the day right there. And they went after it, and it rubs off. right? They went after it and it rubs off. It also rubs off because they are, well, weird like me. And this put a big smile on my face. I was so excited to hear him talk about this because the first name of our team was WCW World Class Weirdos, because we learned in business that the weird are wealthy and the normal are not. The normal are broke. Doing normal things keeps you in a mediocre life. And if that's something you want, then that's okay. But to get to the next level, you got to be weird. You got to do strange things. And I love that he covers this here. I could tell you that he is definitely someone who self improves. He reads Ziegler and Maxwell, and he's gained a lot of knowledge from them because he's reiterating those same the same logic here. All right, and so entrepreneurs, he says, they won't admit it, but we're all a little weird and a little effed up in a good way. It honestly takes someone weird to go out into the world, leave a good paying job behind, and say, wait, I should build that. And to that, I was chuckling when I was reading that because that was me. I left behind the Department of Social Services to pursue my business, and things are great. There's ups and downs. Right now it's a down, but I'm still excited. I'm still fired up. I'm still excited about my future, and I just know things are going to work out. And I know God is guiding my steps. And it might not be 100% towards the business right now, but I know that I'm in good hands. All right, and so not that I work for Allstate or anything. Those liars. It's kind of an insane act, and it takes a certain type of insane person to do it. So when we get together, I feel at home. I feel like I'm with my tribe. Now, see that I really do. I'm in pursuit of that. I'm looking for people that have the same mindset as me, and you should too. You should be hanging around with people that share the same visions. But number 4, the ripples from your outside team will be powerful. All right, he says, because of my outside teams, I've had the opportunity to travel from place to place, and I've traveled to places that I would never have gone. I invested in companies I never would have found, and I expand my business in ways I could never have imagined. And I've read books. Sorry about the music, guys. I read books that I never would have read and that I never would have came across. I've met entrepreneurs I look up to, people who make me think, oh snap, I thought I was owning it, but this dude is amazing. I found role models and people who have helped me through rough points. All right? One more sound check, guys. All right, we are back. Apologize about that. So yeah, when you hang out with people, you are hanging out with people who are just on a totally different level. They are amazing. I found role models and people have helped me through rough points. I've also done the same for them. And I've been there to give someone advice or guidance or a contact who could help them take their business to the next level. One of the things that makes these outside teams different from just groups of friends is the impact. Love that. Because of these people, I've taken action. I've done things. Part of that is, of course, the fact that people in these groups are action oriented. But part of it also has to do with the fact that the people who get together in groups like this tend to be very careful about spending their time on activities with people who are going to do things in this world. All right, so they're always looking to spend their time with people who are movers and shakers and people who are looking to do things. I don't mean to make it seem like we're not laughing with one another or getting to know one another on a personal level. Actually, quite the contrary. Some of these people have become my best friends. They know more about me in some ways than my family does. The difference is that these are people of whom doing something is more important than talking about something. That's huge, because a lot of people just sit there and talk, but they don't really move forward with their actions, right? They make small actions, an introduction here or an investment there, but over time, those little ripples become in those little ripples build into a wave of action. I love that. In the personal training world, we tell our clients that you cannot out-train a bad diet. In other words, if you're going to commit time and money and effort to having a personal trainer or hiring a personal trainer, then you have to train hard and eat clean so that you can reach your goals faster and in a lasting way. It's the same way in business. Sorry. If you're going to put the time and work into growing your empire, then you have to have a strong outside team that supports your vision and wants you to reach your fullest potential. You see, nobody ever told me about the outside team. I just assembled I just assumed that all of my friends and family members and acquaintances would be on my team, and I want to support, and that they would want to support me through my entrepreneurial journey. I never once thought that they might doubt me or have the personal fears and insecurities about being an entrepreneur and transfer those fears and insecurities on me. Hello. I'm not suggesting that your friends, family members and acquaintances are there to sabotage you or that they want to see you fail. But what I am suggesting is that the factors such as where they are in life and what filters they view the world through will determine whether they're going to be a supportive person or understand why you're working so hard. For some of them, it's impossible they simply won't understand why you're going through this or why you're doing this, and instead they're going to show fear, doubt, and become uncomfortable with your drive to succeed and your desire to succeed. Most entrepreneurs don't look at their friends, family members, and acquaintances as part of their team. I'm here to tell you that even though these people are not on your payroll, they have plenty of influence over how hard you work, how high you set your goals, the choices and decisions that you make, and the habits that you develop. If you plan on being successful and maintaining a high level of success, then you need an outside team who believes in you, supports you, and expects you to become the best version of yourself. How awesome is that? So definitely get some people to support you. And here's the exercise for our chapter today, chapter 16. Do an outside team inventory. All right, there you go. List the names of people who you spend time with, who give you better clarity, who make you feel understood, and inspire you to think and dream bigger. It says, how do you spend time with them? What do you do when you're together? What can you do to find others like them? Amazing chapter, guys. That's it for chapter 16. We did it in 29 minutes, and what a chapter, guys. And I just pray that you will find your outside team, your support group, people who are not necessarily in your business, but who love you and appreciate you and want the best for you and want you to be the best person that you can be. And again, to make an impact, to achieve your goals, to develop, to build a life for your family, a well-designed life. I'm excited about mine. I hope you are with yours, and I just pray that this information will help you and bless you and give you the courage and strength to deal with your situations in life. And I just want to give you a shout out to all of you who come across this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, mainly on YouTube and Facebook is mainly we're going to be at, but we're going to be doing some other things too, other platforms. Either way, I'm just blessed to be able to share with you all. I thank God for this opportunity to read and to read to you. All right. And so, value yourself, that you need an outside team supporting group that you can have fun with, and also that you guys can hash out things together. All right. It's good together. It's good to fellowship with other people. It's good to get together with other people who are like-minded and share your visions and goals, because then you guys keep each other fired up and excited about your lives. And, I'm looking forward to that. God bless you all. See you in the next one. We will post another one tomorrow, chapter 17, finishing off with chapter 18 and our conclusion. Right, and so that'll be it for us, and see you in the next video. Peace, y'all.